Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live. It's Friday, it's 9 p.m., and we are back on the session on
how to ace your career.
So, friends, I'm Nutan, I'm a career and a life coach, and
I'm Dheeraj, I'm a career coach, life coach, and also a business coach.
And today we are going to share an amazing, yet another episode on insight from mentors.
Yep.
So that you can learn from them on how they have aced their career.
Yes.
Not to delay any further, I would like to go right away to first Telekazi episode, get your learnings so that we all can at the end share the learnings that we got to know from this beautiful video. So just give me a moment for me to be able to share the screen. And here we go.
Yep.
Have you, Mr. Sachin, here on our live session on how to ace your career. You've had a wonderful journey. You're a chartered accountant by profession, working in one of the best companies at a good position. But I know that this doesn't happen easily, right? There is right from the beginning on how you choose your career, your education, and then what you put behind is what defines a career. So let's really begin from what's your educational background, where were you born, how did this choice of becoming a chartered accountant happen?
Yeah, so great. I think let's start maybe 20, 25 years back. So I come from a family of chartered accountants.
Oh,
wow. My brother, my uncle, brother's wife, so everybody ended up, and that's how. Simple answer, I think, is that is how I ended up becoming a chartered accountant. So, and to be frank, the Indian educational system, I think we work very hard. But at the age of 20, 21, when you pass out your 12, or at 18 when you clear your 12, I don't think you're matured enough to decide. And
correct.
At least now we are very competitive. The millennials, they're aware through digital age what is good for them, what earns better, and so on. But when back in 1998 or 1995, when we cleared our 12th standard, I don't think it was not available to decide. So we were pushed, okay, my son, this is good, you should go into this stream, our family has done good. So we were pushed. And we know in India, qualification is a must to get something somewhere. But so that is how I got pushed into CA. But I don't regret. It's been a great journey.
I mean, you're one of the most. People who pass out CA are people who are the most intelligent of the crowd in the country. So you belong to that rare community. So becoming a CA, why did you not choose to practice but take up a job? And how did you land into an IT company?
Yeah, so I think it's a great story for me. How did I land up into IT company? So it's not that I did not try practice. So I went into teaching for 6 months, and I enjoyed teaching. I tried doing the practice, but I think again the opportunities, one needs to have a lot of patience, and I was a restless soul. I needed fast results. That is a kind of energy. Enthusiasm as a young chartered accountant I had, and I thought practice. I clearly thought practice is not my cup of tea, because it will have a big gestation period, and then the payback period is going to be longer.
Correct.
But yes, when it starts paying back, it starts paying well. So that was the reason my thought process made me go pick up the career of going through service. Now, there have been 4 clear, I have always kept myself relevant to the industry. So I started with fascination for stock markets. Again, you're not aware, but you see, stock market is a fascinating place. And Harshad Mehta scam had just happened, and I joined. It was all cleaned up, and it was again beginning to boom. That's when I joined in 1999. That after clearing CA, that was my first job in Anand Rathi Securities. And I was handling a good amount of portfolio. So Rathi was the president of Bombay Stock Exchange that time.
Correct.
And after 1 year, I think there was a stock market crash.
Yes.
And there was sudden panic and a lot of mayhem and so on. So I thought this is not a great industry to be in. Again, I think you made a bad choice. And I thought, let's go where finance guys bread and butter is profit and loss, balance sheet, publishing. So let's try that. And I shifted to a logistics major called Gati Limited, where I joined the corporate finance. A couple of years did corporate finance. Then we had a lot of transformation stories there, and we can discuss some of them during the calls on how innovations happen and so on. But then I realized that when I'm a guy who cannot do daily P&L balance sheet, though I'm a chartered accountant, but I was getting bored with the mundane work. So I did a lot of transformation work, and we can talk about some of it, like cash on delivery and selling Alfonso mangoes online. And we did a lot of stuff way back in 2000, 2005, no internet and so on. So I realized my potential that I'm a transformation guy, being a finance guy. And 2005 ERP was booming, and sitting in Gati, we implemented ERP, and I sitting at a small desk, I learned myself, ERP on a test instance is what we call it. And then I shifted to Infosys, where I got an opportunity to improvise my personality, go around the world, implement for clients of Infosys ERP. Then moved into consulting within Infosys, the consulting domain. And so IT industry was booming, but then it got saturated in 2011, and India was becoming back office for world. Shared services industry was So I shifted myself to shared service industry. I said, enough of IT. Now let's use the IT knowledge plus finance knowledge to get into back to finance and serve finance. So I moved into Capgemini, keeping pace with the industry change, to head to shared services or establish a shared services back office for them in India. From there, it's been 12 years, different roles. From shared services, moved into finance transformation, which is now becoming RPA, robotics, artificial intelligence, and so on. Now I've moved into data analytics, more of data analytics, business analytics, working closely with the business and so on. So I think the point I wanted to deliver is I always, though being a chartered accountant, I always kept pace with the changes in industry, from corporate finance, from made a mistake in stock markets, corporate finance, then shared services, IT, data analytics, and chat GPT, generative AI is going to be the next one. So I've already started working on that. So so that's how it has evolved. The journey has evolved.
So Sachin, what I'm trying to understand from you is that you move domains. People generally, they get stuck. So as a chartered accountant, I've joined in an automobile domain, and I'll stay in either manufacturing or automobile. If I move, people will say your experience is not relevant and you will not be able to get a great career path. How did you really work through this? So from investment, which is securities, then into logistics, and now in the IT world.
No, I think so. Finance is a transversal function, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So you are not industry agnostic. I mean, if you're good, you're good. I mean, you'll excel in any industry and you'll make yourself relevant. I think the most important thing which I feel I've done right is understanding business. I mean, a lot of finance guys, they are hooked up with numbers. They are hooked up with, storytelling is something which is big nowadays. And I think I have done well in telling story with numbers. We kept growing, hearing the rabbit and tortoise story, but it had a great relevance. There is always a start, then there is a peak, then there is a moral, and so on. And I always felt that finance numbers also have something like this. There is a problem, there is a peak where you have to explain it. Times are coming, inflation is at high, and now this is what is the answer. How should you implement it? And that is an art, and you need to understand business and correlate those numbers to business when you're working with business. And that is what I feel I've done well. And as I said, it's a transversal function. So I was able to correlate well and move on from different domains to different industries and so on.
So not really only being relevant in your function, but you moved out to understand finance and business connection.
Yeah, so correct. So I can take an example when I'm talking about cash on delivery, for example, and this is a great example of how problems create new products. So
correct.
Problems create new products and ideas. So I was in Gati in maybe 2001 to 5, and 2003 we had a lot of, I would say we were highly leveraged on our balance sheet. What I mean by leverage is we had a lot of debts and so on, and the interest rates were very high. So we were really in a bad cash situation. And our promoter said that Sachin, we need to come up with some idea. It was for everyone, not only Sachin, but to all the financiers. We need to come out with some brilliant idea. And so on. So we brainstormed and we came up with the idea that, we are a logistics company. We pick up handicrafts from Rajasthan and deliver all across. That's one example, not Rajasthan, but we pick up.
Yes, correct.
And we deliver to somewhere in Mumbai, Delhi, and so on. Why can't we deliver, collect cash, and give back to the handicraft, the consignor in Rajasthan? And in the process, in 2005, today you have IMPS, Google Pay, and so on. That time it was there was a CMS. When you deposit money today, you will get tomorrow. That was the service which was available in 2005. So we said, let's collect the cash, let's use it for 2 days, and then third day we'll give it back to the consignor. So it was a different problem, but we came out with a different product, which was correlating to our business. I thought it's a brilliant example of how problems create solutions. So I always fell in love with problems. I never fell in love with first with solution. Normally the mistakes all of us do is, okay, what is the solution we have to implement? But here the problem was something different, and we came out with something different. So people feel cash on delivery was, innovated by Amazon or in India. I feel this is how it got innovated to a logistics.
Okay. So tell me that when you choose to make this shift, so are you a person who sets his goals and says from here I'll go to move here, this is what I'm looking at, or it is you go by the flow? What has been your way of operation?
Yeah, so I have always followed 3x3 principle in my career. I think every 3 years, create a backup for yourself and identify what do we do next. So I've been always believer in doing multiple roles at one point of time, and today I am doing finance transformation plus data analytics and some other one more role around business. So that, I feel that is, though it adds a pressure, it depends on how you handle pressure. But though it gives you variety, it also gives more opportunities for your team, for them to grow, and it also helps you create backup within your team so that you can move on to another role. So that is what have been my principle. I have not set specific goals, but I think my goal was always to be relevant, and which I explained you my flow of career. And if you stay relevant, I think you will grow. You will grow in salary, you will grow in position, because you're relevant and you're in demand. So you will always people will always like to be with you, both upward leadership as well as people who want to work
below you. Great. So Sachin, one more question, since I especially deal with mid-age people, so people with 12-15 years of background, they've worked in a particular domain and they want to shift. So for example, if CAs have been in core CA roles till now, and today we all know digital transformation, AI is all happening. If they have to move from that core role here, what is that something that they need to do to begin with so that they can move and make this transformation with themselves?
So I think the easiest way to begin and to get into this is wherever you are working, identify. I'm sure every industry and every company, big, small, medium, are going through some kind of transformation. One, because the promoter wants efficiency. Second, if it's a big company, then obviously they want to show off that they're also into AI, they're also into automation, they're also implementing ERP. So there can be different reasons, but every company is investing into the next gen technology. Some are little backward, some are more backward, but some are way ahead of others. So I think pick up something which is happening in your own company, and that's the best way to start, because on the job teaching is any other bookish knowledge or coaching classes cannot give you what you will learn on the job yourself along with the atmosphere. So I think my advice, and that is how I am learned. So I am an alumni and we get a lot of case studies and all, but making those case studies relevant is only when you can do when you do it yourself. So I think that would be my small, because that's how I have grown. I have found opportunities within to excel myself.
Great. So you already told about skills that you've utilized to grow in your career. When I talk about soft skills or life skills, there are certain habits that we all have, right?
Yeah.
That takes us towards success. So what are few things which you can share about you right from the very beginning? Because being a CA is not easy, right? It needs a lot of study and focus to be able to clear out those exams to moving and maneuvering your career. What are certain things a person need to have as a habit, as a quality in them to be able to flourish in their career and in their life as well?
Yeah. For me, it started at there's something called family values also, which plays a very important role. For me,
Yes.
and then there are various mentors. For me, it started with my father and mother both. My mother was she was a housewife, but she was a super time management person. She do things very fast. She knows she has to take studies of her kids. She has to cook at this time. Her husband is going to come home at this time. The food has to be ready. So I learned that knack from my mother on how to make things fast. And then my father used to had a very good thing before going to office, morning 8 a.m. And Mumbai, you have to catch the local trains on specific times exactly. So before going home, he'll mark a newspaper article in the newspaper and he'll say, now you have to study this and write in your own words.
Wow.
So this was a great habit, I feel. It improved my vocabulary, it improved my creative thinking. It's such a simple thing, but it helped me develop a lot of creativity, curiosity, some things I would never understand. So it provoked me to take Oxford Dictionary and understand some heavy English words which I had never understood what it meant. So, and it also gave a platform to discuss with my father when he's back from office. There was a family, reunion kind of thing, if you want, because everybody's so busy in Mumbai. We'll sit and discuss the article, what happened, and so on with them. Then, coming from a Marwadi community, I think we also have a lot of community service which goes. So it gives us platform to write newsletters, to share our experiences and so on. So that really helped me a lot in developing my leadership skills. So that was about the family values. And then I think some of the key, success attributes which I have in my own words, I would say ethos, pathos, and logos is what a finance guy should have. I mean, ethos is basically credibility. I think as a finance guy, you have to come as very
relevant. Yes.
Yeah. Logos is all about logic. I mean, as a finance guy, you should be very solid on numbers. You are interviewing me. If I throw some GDP numbers, I should come as a trusted source. Okay, it is coming from Sachin, so it makes.
Correct.
And the third thing is, emotional connect. So we said pathos, pathos, and logos. The third thing is emotional connect, which most of the finance guys like, which was the storytelling aspect which I was saying.
Yes.
That you just go and present Excel sheet, but what does it mean from business perspective?
Absolutely.
Has to be, you have to emotionally connect. So one of the days when we will talk about normal leadership skills, apart from those skills like observation, listening, empathy, learn from failures. I think these skills of pathos, and logos are very important, and especially the emotional connect to engage yourself. I mean, if you've seen Prime Minister Modi speaking, I think he connects so fast with the audience.
Absolutely.
He's in 2 minutes. I mean, if you've seen in Australia when he was there,
yeah,
I mean, he connected. He was saying once a country may. So people were engaging. I mean, most people. That's how,
yes.
That's very important, I think.
And that's coming from a chartered accountant is really amazing because, like you said, I completely agree because there are people with numbers and Excel, but they never go beyond that. And when they're asked to make a PPT and deliver it to the board, talking about relevance to the business and the people sitting there, it becomes difficult for them. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, it is changing. Yeah, but we are not taught presentation skills, so that's why I said it's very important to learn on the job.
Yeah,
very relevant. The skills are today. Yeah.
Right, and in that case, like you said, emotional connect is very important. Similarly, if you have been seeing that there is a lot of challenges people are facing in terms of toxic, whether it's a toxic work culture or you have some toxic people working with you. Now, not every time that you can leave the job, right? Because you have worked hard towards establishing yourself in a company. So how does a person deal with something like this?
So again, this is something which is never taught in books, and I was fortunate to have a Bihari. One of my bosses was a Bihari,
Okay.
For 2 years in Capgemini, and he taught me about Chanakya and Arthashastra.
Okay.
What is a Swami, and what is a Mitra, and so I can take a very small example. If you know some.
Yeah, would love to share. Yeah.
So sometimes people forget who is a Swami, and you should never go against Swami. Cyrus Mistry and Tata's is a very famous case.
Yes.
Finally, Cyrus Mistry lost and he was removed from the board.
Yes.
I feel he forgot that who is the Swami, and he thought he himself was the Swami and started acting funny. So finally, Tata Trust was the Swami there, and they had to remove. So I think this toxic culture will be there. But what I've learned is most of the times either you do upward delegation, we have to fire the gun using somebody else's shoulder when you need help, or you get people on your side to talk for you. I think that plays a very crucial and important role. And then today people talk network is network. So
yes.
And that is really very important. As we are talking, I think we also connected on LinkedIn. So I think it's very important to every company will have toxic culture.
Yes.
But then you have to develop your own network where to use upward delegation, right?
Yeah.
To use right people at right time and save yourself. And if nothing happens, then move on. There are a lot of opportunities today.
So that brings me to my next question: how important it is to keep building relationships across while you're working?
No, I think it's the most important thing. As I said, and as you said, finance people like us, they are sitting in a cabin or sitting in a cubicle and very focused on numbers, and they're so busy. Sometimes I would blame their bosses as well, but it's very important, I think, to have relationship. And I would say LinkedIn is a great platform. I started blogging 10 years back. I started writing on, and this newspaper habit helped me on that. Whenever I picked up, I studied some new topic. You can see my blogs. There are a lot of blogs on LinkedIn which I write with millions of views. And whenever I come across like ChatGPT, I came across. I really think how can I apply in my work or at my home or and so on. When Six Sigma came, I started applying it. How can I apply it at my home with my kids? And some funny idea comes up, and you go and write on LinkedIn, and you engage yourself. So I think today we are equipped with so much of social media, so much of platforms are available, and one should, even if one is introvert, he can go and express his thoughts through these blogs on this out. And that is how I made my network. Suddenly I started getting calls from CFO forums for speaker seminars. So I started going to a lot of conferences as a speaker, as a panelist on panel discussions. I made my network. Today I am faculty. I'm on the board of as a special invitee of ICI. So I think it is. And I started with a small blog on LinkedIn, nothing else. It happened all on its own. So I think it's like the LIC agent network, right?
Yes, absolutely.
One to other, the tree branches and so on. So that is how it has helped me. And I'm sure everybody can multiply. It's about creating your own brand. That's very important, and building your own network.
Wow, that's two wonderful things you've said. One is creating your own brand, and second, really creating a content which is relevant for others, which is so relevant today, and something taught by your dad such a long time back, that you learned story writing. So it's beautiful. So tell me this, today you being invited in forums, how long did this take? When did you start writing, and today you've reached here with such a beautiful network that you are?
I think I'm doing this since last 5-6 years, and I will be very open with you. After writing some blogs, I started receiving some invitations to participate. Somewhere they got my email ID and they received. I started receiving emails for participation by paying a fee in some of the conferences.
Okay.
One day I was very bold enough to write them, can I join you as a speaker? I am not interested to join as a participant by paying fee. And then I said, you can check my LinkedIn profile. I've been writing a lot of blogs. And they called me up and they said, yeah, we are in a need of speaker. Can you pick up this topic? And that's how the journey started. And I think sometimes, there is a book of Robin Sharma, I forget the name, but there's a chapter where he tries to, he falls in love with someone, but he is so shy that he's not able to
Express.
propose or express.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she gets married to someone else and all.
Yes.
So he says, the conclusion is, if you don't give yourself a chance, you are going to lose. At least by giving a chance, you are okay
Some
to lose.
problem. Correct.
So I think this is a very important lesson for me. I have never been shy in asking anything, even it may be silly, because you're giving an opportunity for yourself. So my advice to a lot of youngsters, and the way we have been as youngsters, and we were very nervous, we were not expressive. Whenever we were called in the cabin of a principal or managing director, we had butterflies and we were so nervous. But this generation is so bold, and they're not, they don't fear. But it's very important that you ask for things, because you're giving yourself an opportunity if you ask for things. So that's how it started, and then I think it's been very successful now. With IM, I think it's a great brand to be associated with. So yeah.
True, very true. So what have been some of your resources that you have kept learning from? Because all this has just not happened. You have groomed yourself to reach where you are. So what are these resources that you're tapping?
Oh, I have been the best resource has been my network. So I've been talking to a lot of people. Like I'm talking to you. We're talking for the first time. So I think as soon as I open a book, I feel sleepy. So I have not been a great reader of books, but I have been reading a lot on net, on LinkedIn. Once you've made a network and some of the others good there post a good blog or a good article, and it automatically pops up for you. So I've been reading a lot of content on internet, whether it's on and primarily LinkedIn, no other social media from professional perspective.
Yes.
I've been writing a lot, and my style of writing is pick up a pen and paper and write. And I feel picking up a pen and paper enables you to bring that creativity in thought instead of typing on a laptop or then. And after I write on pen and paper, I go with at least with my 3 to 4, 5 people and discuss what do you feel about this, what do you think, what will happen about this, and that has been my way of learning for self, as well as way of writing or way of building the creative network.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
So, you are going out and speaking in forums. You have kept yourself relevant by updating all what's happening in the industry. You also have a family to take care. Children are growing up. How do you really maintain this work-life balance?
Yeah, so I think work-life balance is different for different people. So I feel you spend a lot of time in office as much as you spend at home. So for me, having a healthy relationship in office, and for me, measurement of healthy relationship is when people start, especially with Indians, when people start opening up and sharing their personal information. Like I went on this weekend, I went there, my dadi came, she cooked this. When people your team members start sharing all this information with you, that is when you can say that you're successful in connecting with your team. That is my way of measuring that. Okay, I have a good connect with my team, because they've opened up to share personal information. In fact, one of my colleagues is getting married, and she came to Bangalore from Mumbai, and she came and cried in the cabin with few of us. So it was a very emotional moment. So that is the kind of, so work-life balance is not only home. My definition of work-life balance is connecting personally in office, and obviously then spending time with your loved ones at home. Especially, we have no work policy on weekends, and the same applies to the team. It's difficult being finance guys, but we have never worked on any weekends. At least that is what Capgemini is known for, as a good work culture. So I think weekend is completely devoted to family. And the speaker conferences, what I do is, between my travel to Mumbai and Borivali, it is 1.5 hour travel. So that is when you gather all these thoughts and record it on your phone and play it by. So that's making the best use of your time and reading about small things here.
Beautiful. So one beautiful story that you would like to share for our audience, that they could really learn something from it, your biggest learning of life, if you could share with us.
Yeah, sure. So there are a lot of stories, but yeah. So I shared on cash on delivery, but I'll share one story on street smartness.
One you also shared was Swami and Mitra, I think, which is so damn important. If you can work that very well, I think you've learned the lesson. It's very beautiful. It will stay with me.
Of course, yeah. I think street smartness is very important, and I don't know, I don't have a mantra on how to bring it, but I can share this couple of stories from my old promoter days in Gati. So those days there were no mutual fund, and being a logistics company, we had own petrol pumps and so on. So we were cash rich on our balance sheet and limited avenues to invest, no mutual funds. Companies cannot invest too much in stock markets and so on.
Right.
So our promoter we used to think, where do we invest this cash? So much of fixed deposits are already there, but rate of interest is very low.
Great.
So one of the good ideas our promoter gave, this is, I don't know if you know Baniya mentality in India, but very street smart thinking is to pay more tax, because when you get refund, you get 1.5% per month, which is 18% per annum. In those days, 18%. So I mean, only an Indian promoter guy can give this kind of ideas to pay more tax and refund with interest. So that was one. This is what street smart, and then in 2002, 2003, we were getting IFRS is what Indian accounting standards.
Okay.
So for finance, we have something called accounting standards. If you know something called related party transactions. This is nothing but in a balance sheet of every company, you have to declare how much did you borrow from your relative companies and how much you gave loans to your relative companies. Now, in a Marwadi company, you'll have a lot of these transactions.
Yes.
For reasons which are well known, cannot be discussed formally on the call, but there are. It will be 3 times more than the turnover. Yeah.
Yes.
10 times more than the turnover. Now, related party transaction was the accounting standard which came in suddenly by the government of India, and everybody was worried. Most of the business is owned by Marwadis and Gujaratis in India, as you know. And everybody was worried. How do you disclose this? So, normally the accounting year is April to March, and in April the balance sheet will come out in newspaper. Nice results will come out, but now everybody was worried how to show this. The turnover is 100 crores, but you borrowed 1,000 crores from X company and you gave back 2,000 crores. So we did again very nice street smartness. That year we changed our accounting year from April to March to July to June. So that provision is there. And I said to my promoter, we'll do this to observe how others are doing. How others are presenting their balance sheet, who are in April to March, we'll observe and then we decide how to promote. Great idea. You go ahead and do it. How much money you have to pay to the government, please pay and change the accounting year July to June. We'll give some stupid reason why we changed that. So we changed it. And then we said we'll observe only how Marwadi companies are publishing these results.
Okay.
So we observed Aditya Birla Group.
Okay.
And they did a very smart thing in their annual accounts booklet which you get, annual report. They netted off how much I paid to Nutan and how much I received from Nutan. I paid 10 rupees to Nutan, I received 5 rupees. So they netted off and said, okay, I will disclose 5 rupees. This is what was the net transaction which happened. And we exactly copy pasted that and so this was one of the street smartness stories. I think all of us need to think little out of box on how you can what does our promoters want, what does our leadership want, and how do you make it work? Sometimes it is impossible, but you need to find ways through the smartness or peer discussions or get it working. So this was something interesting. I thought I should share.
Really beautiful and so damn relevant. But yes, life is really all about what have you learned and how can you share it beautifully with people so that they can learn something. I think storytelling is the best art if someone can learn, because that inspires and motivates people, encourages them in tough times, and you have learned that art. Though being a person who should be absolutely away from that, people of numbers don't really, it's a general trend in the industry. As an employee, when we would say that if you're going to a accounts department, the guy is not even going to look up to you, he's going to be doing his work. Earlier it was in books, now it was in laptops, but he's not even going to see the face who's come and interacted and asked him a question and walked away.
Yeah.
So you have changed those trends and you're really so connected to people, which is really beautiful. So thank you very much for sharing your insights. And I would love to connect you and listen to your stories even more. But for today, let's really cut down here. Thank you very much for spending your time and your insights. And we'll remain in touch through your blogs and probably connect again on some other topic some other day.
Yeah, it's been a
Thank
pleasure.
Same here.
Wow. So it was amazing. I think she spoke so much. So probably I would end this today's session with the learning that I could write down. So the first thing that he said is be relevant to the industry if you want to grow. Second, what I liked about Mr. Gentleman that we had now is he was open to accept his mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, open it, accept it. Then he said he was always a transformation guy. So if you want to be successful, see how can you be a transformation guy. Then he said as time changed, he also improvised his personality. So that also aspect is extremely important. Then he said it's so important to keep pace with the industry that we work with. Then he says, you need to keep progressing. Galti ho gaya, theek hai, ab aage badho. Now what next? Now what next? You can't keep lamenting over it. You can keep progressing. Then he said it's important, no matter where you are working, to understand the business part of it. Then he said storytelling is extremely important in today's world to grow. And you see the way he was telling stories, amazing. Then he said that become a solution provider to the problem of the company, what they are facing. Rather than just saying, I know everything, how can I be a solution provider for that issue? Like, this whole Gati thing that he said, that he was a solution provider there. Then he said, if you want to be a solution provider, you need to fall in love with the problem. If you're not falling in love with the problem, you cannot come out with great solutions. Then he said the 3 principles where he was talking about, play multiple roles in organization. So in his case, he played 3 different roles in the company. Okay, so that's important. Then he spoke about ethos, pathos, logos, emotional connect. Then he said that beautiful part which I love, Swami and Mitra. I think a lot of people have problem with this to understand, and that's why they have problem with their bosses, their co-founders, owners, and they emotionally, but they don't understand. That's a Swami and I need a Mitra both. So you need to identify this very clearly. Then create your own brand. That's how you grow. Then don't feel shy to ask that, that ad, puchne mein kya jata hai. And finally, he said, think out of box. So these are the 16 learnings I could gather from this interview. I'm sure you would have your more learnings. But anyhow, thank you so much for all of you for giving your time and being there. And I'm sure this would help you. Please go through it once again. So thank you so much and see you again on next Friday on How to Ace Your Career. Bye-bye. Good night. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely enjoy your